Hello everyone, how are you guys all doing today? My name is Mirko and welcome back to another brand new Apex Legends video. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys some in-depth tips on how to rank higher in the new ranked game mode that you guys know about in Apex Legends. So if you guys go ahead and enjoy the video, be sure you're dropping a like down below and also leave a comment on your thoughts of Season 2 at this moment in time. How are you finding it so far? So before we jump into the specific tips, I just want to talk to you guys about how the point system works, because that is going to be actually really vital in regards to how we're going to play. So as you can see, there are 6 ranks, bronze being the worst and Apex Predator being the best. But more importantly, as you guys can see from the points awarded, you get 1 point per kill. Now I actually love the fact that they're rewarding people for getting kills, but the problem I've got with this is that it only gives you up to 5 points. So if you get more than 5 kills, you're only going to be awarded 5 points, which I think is actually really frustrating. We should be rewarding people for going out to getting loads of kills. But anyway, I'm not here to complain about how it works. I'm still glad that they're giving us something back for kills. So you get 1 point per kill, you get 2 points if you finish in the top 10, you get 4 points if you finish in the top 5, and you get 7 points if you finish in the top 3. And obviously if you guys win and become champions, you get 12 points. Now each rank deducts a certain amount of points every time you go into a game. As you can see, the higher rank you are, the more you're going to have to pay in every time you play a game, which is actually really crucial, because you might have to start switching it up when you hit to that gold onwards rank, because you're going to be getting 2 or more points deducted every time you go into a game. So you might want to land at quiet areas which still has a lot of loot but isn't actually a named location, because if you do land in these high populated areas and you die very early on, you're going to be getting 2 points deducted nearly all the time. And there are a high percentage of people that die very early on in high populated areas purely because they can't find any good weapons or they haven't got any loot at all. Now your job in the beginning of a match is basically settling down early, having some good enough loot to get you going in the early stages of the game. And the thing you don't want to be doing is fighting enemies so early on with hardly any loot at all. Everyone that is currently in a bronze rank will eventually move up to silver, because it doesn't cost anything to go into a game each time. So some people it might take longer than other people, but you will eventually get to silver. And I'm just about got into silver now. I'm at the beginning stage of silver. So there are a few things I want to talk to you guys about which are absolutely crucial, because now in ranks you're going to be playing against really good players and you're not going to be playing the standard public lobbies that you're used to. Now I want to speak about times when you're actually engaging with another team, because this is where you're at your most vulnerable and you could possibly go back into the lobby before you know it. So when you are engaging with another team, you want to make sure you're keeping yourself at a fair distance to the point that you can retreat if you feel the need to. I always think the best way to fight is at medium range, because you're not too far away to the point where if you do down someone you can't get there as quickly as possible. But at the same time, if you do feel like you're dealing a lot of damage yourself and you're about to go down, you have enough time to retreat and run away from the gunfight and completely avoid it. If you feel like you're engaging up close to the enemies, I would increase the gap, increase the distance, use your Pathfinder's ability or Wraith's ability, and just create a larger, greater distance which is more comfortable for you and it's overall better for the engagement. One thing I do want to speak about is 1 vs 2 and 1 vs 3 gunfights, because you definitely do not want to be doing that, especially when you're going against good players. If you attempt to 1 vs 3 clutch another team, they will laugh at you and they will probably send you back to the lobby, and you should never tell your mind otherwise. Sometimes, depending on what situation you're in, you could go for the 1v2 if one of the enemies has really low health, but as I said, that's when it comes down to your decision making. But in all honesty, I would avoid it, and if both of your teammates are down, I would actually hide sometimes in a corner, see if they go away. Eventually they will go away. Your teammates' banners have 90 seconds, guys. So as you guys can see from this example here, I was waiting for the enemies to go, and the better thing about this as well is that that's more times for other people around the map to engage and kill each other, which actually puts you higher on placement points as well. What you guys need to think is that you staying alive is more important than getting kills, and you want to make sure you're finishing around the top 5, top 3 every game, or even the top 10 is better than nothing. One thing I forgot to mention earlier in the video is when you do down opponents, you want to make sure you're getting that finish finish, because that can guarantee you that one rank point that could be crucial. So every time you down players, make sure you're finishing them to ensure you get them points. So when it comes towards that mid stage of the game, I'd recommend staying separated from your teammates, not too much of a greater distance. I'd say about a grenade's length from each other. The reason why you should stay separated from your teammates is because, one, if you do come across another team and you start shooting at them, they're going to be so overwhelmed from the different angles they're being shot from, they won't know who to focus on first. And number two, it's easier to spot other enemies. If 3 different teammates are looking in different directions, you have a greater chance of being sure that no enemies are around, and if so, it's much more easier to spot them if 3 teammates are in different places at once. But as I said earlier, you don't want to be at too much of a greater distance to the point where if your teammate is being shot at, you can't get to them as soon as possible. So I'll say about a grenade's length is just the correct distance. So when it comes towards the late stages of the game, holding your ground in one area is much more beneficial than actually going around to different multiple areas and still being on the loose. So when it comes towards that late stage, it's really important that you're not being spotted by other enemies. And one thing I'd also like to mention as well is that when you do hear shots going off, you need to analyze how far them shots are, and usually with a good headset you can tell how far away them shots are going to be. And most of the time it's not actually worth going there, because you're going to be exposing yourself and your whole team, and a lot of the time you can end up dying so stupidly just because you challenged a fight when you really could be holding down one area and getting them placement points. Of course, third partying is so strong in this game. That's why you need to analyze how far away that gunfight is, because you don't want to get there to the point where they're all fully healed again and they're ready for another fight. You want a third party at the right time where it's close enough so they're both low on health and they're still looting up, etc. Now when it comes to the storm and late rotation, you always want to be looking in advance at where the ring is, but not only where the ring is, but where the best place is to go in that ring, and you want to make sure you're rotating early so you can get there before anywhere else. Usually what I like to do at the late stage of the game is I like to check where the highest point is at that ring, and I usually like to rotate there early and settle down there with my team, and then I can get an overlook of people down below and I can get a good view of what's going on around me. Also, the storm has received a huge buff as well, so you don't want to be in the storm too long. You want to avoid it completely if possible, because you can't get away with being in it too long now, and it will deal so much damage, and sometimes you can go down if you're in it too long. Previously in season 1 you would get away with it, but now is a whole different ball game. If you do manage to reach the top 5, it is more important than ever to make sure you're staying locked down in one area and playing very passive, because there are only 2 teams, which is the difference between 4 points and 7 points. That's a whole 3 points for only 2 more teams getting eliminated. So it's actually really important to stay locked down in one area, not necessarily camp in a corner, but just be moving around in one area only, whether it be a big building or whether it be somewhere up high which you can just settle down in. If you guys have got any tips which will be awesome for my subscribers and my viewers, be sure you're leaving them down below. Share your tips with each other, help each other improve, and I guarantee we can all do amazing in these ranked modes. Anyway, thank you all for watching this video. Be sure you're subscribing if you're new to the channel, and be sure you're liking if you did enjoy this video and it helps you out. So thank you all for watching, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll catch all of you guys out in another brand new Apex Legends video.